So obviously after Ubisoft Forward, almost all the hype and attention for Assassin's Creed is on Mirage. Obviously it's the new main entry, but we did get two other AC games announced at Ubisoft Forward. One was Codename Jade, the mobile game we've known about for a while. I don't really feel like we got to see a whole lot about it to the point where I feel I need to make a video on it, but the one I was more intrigued with is Assassin's Creed Nexus, the VR game. And after doing some research, seeing what the developers of it had to say, this game has insane potential. Of course, it is VR, so a lot of Assassin's Creed fans might not get to play it. I do have a Quest 2. I don't use it a lot, but I'm very excited at the possible videos I could make for you guys with an Assassin's Creed VR game. In the VR space, Assassin's Creed has been requested for quite a long time now. I know some people even made like fan-made games. I've seen a few clips on YouTube, but a full-blown Assassin's Creed experience in VR. That prospect alone has so much potential, but not even just that. The stories that can be told in this game as well. Because Nexus isn't just going to be some shallow VR you play as a generic assassin in a few different levels and that's it. No, this thing is going to have one coherent story, and why I'm excited about this is who they're bringing back. We're going to play and experience all new stories for Ezio, Connor, and Cassandra. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really care as much for Cassandra since Odyssey was a lot more recent. I know a lot of Odyssey fans do really like her though, but I'm excited to see Ezio return after all these years, and believe it or not, I'm even more excited to see Connor. Not necessarily because I think Connor is a better character than Ezio, but because even to this day we still see Ezio quite a bit. They always bring his legacy outfits into all the new games. You know, he's showing up in Fortnite and Fall Guys. The guy's a total celebrity, but we don't really ever see Connor pop up. I'm a huge Connor Kenway fan. If you've been watching me for a while, you'd know that. And admittedly, he's not as popular as some of the other protagonists in this series. So knowing they chose him as one of the three characters to bring back in this VR game had me very excited. And each of these three characters are getting their own story. That's right, we're getting a story with Ezio 2 years after the events of Brotherhood. That's why he's got new assassin robes. We'll get to see him reunite with his family and Leonardo da Vinci, who I'm excited to see again. Definitely one of my favorite characters from the Ezio games. And according to Ubisoft, it'll be a story about revenge and stolen treasures. This is the first time since 2011 with Embers we're getting a new Ezio story. And of course, Revelations being the last Ezio game. Now, this obviously has some risk too. If you're going to add another chapter to one of the most beloved video game characters of all time, then you better do Ezio justice. There's some massive shoes to fill there. But at the very least, I hope they bring back the original voice actors. You can't have anyone aside from Roger Craig Smith voicing Ezio. If it's not Roger's voice, I don't even want to play it, honestly. I can't imagine Ezio with a different voice. I would certainly think they would bring him back though, because his voice is just too iconic and synonymous with the character to change it. Now, who knows about the other characters? It says Ezio reunites with his family, so I'm less sure if it'll be the same voice actors for, say, his mother and Claudia. I do hope they brought back Carlos Ferro though, who voiced Leonardo da Vinci. He did such a fantastic job, and he's still actively doing voice acting roles in different games, so that should be possible. Done right, this could be so cool. I hope the writers of these stories have a good understanding of these characters and do them justice. It may very well be the last time Ezio gets a new story, so let's hope it's a good one. Cassandra's is set 20 years after Odyssey during the 30 tyrants in Athens, with a new battle between Sparta and Athens that you must bring to an end. Again, personally, I don't care as much for this story, but at the very least, Cassandra will actually have a hidden blade in this game, so that's something. And then finally, Connor's story. So unlike Ezio and Cassandra's, Connor's isn't a sequel story. It takes place during the events of AC3, which I was kind of disappointed to hear because so much of Connor's life after AC3 is unknown, and it's something I've often wondered and speculated about. So I think seeing more of him after AC3 would have been preferable but I'm just happy to see him back at all. It takes place around 1776 at the height of the Revolutionary War, where Connor is contacted by Achilles to free a Son of Liberty, where he'll apparently be caught up in a story of espionage, intrigue, and betrayal. Because, you know, Connor hasn't been betrayed enough. But it is interesting this takes place during the events of AC3, so who knows, maybe it'll flesh out the story and fill in some gaps even more. I'm not entirely sure, but seeing Achilles again will also be pretty cool. Same thing though, it better be the same voice actors, especially Noah Watts voicing Connor. It would be so sweet to have him back as Connor after over a decade since he finished his work on AC3. And again, Connor isn't the most iconic and well-known character in this series, which is why I always thought we'd never see him again, so what a treat to see him return in this game. Like I said, I'm more intrigued to see his story and play as him than Ezio and Cassandra's. Although I'm still very excited to see Ezio come back as well. And I really don't see many people talking about this in the community. I get it, Mirage kind of overshadowed this game, but for those of us who have wanted to see characters like Ezio and Connor return, this is a big deal. Oh, and then there's going to be an overarching modern day element to these three stories as well, as you're back in Abstergo and trying to stop them from finding these artifacts that Connor, Ezio, and Cassandra find on their adventures, so you enter the Animus to find them first. It just has so much potential if it's done right, and I'm obviously not expecting a super long, in-depth story from a VR game, but hopefully with what's there, it's satisfying enough. I've only talked about the story so far, not even the gameplay, which sounds really fun. I mean, Assassin's Creed VR just makes sense. We didn't get to see what the real gameplay looks like in the trailer. That wasn't real footage, obviously, and I don't think any of us are going to be able to play as smoothly as this footage. But there are a few screenshots of the game, and the trailer gives us a good idea of the different things we can do in it. We are actually going to be able to climb and parkour across buildings and everything, which honestly sounds nauseating, but hopefully they make it work. We can of course use the hidden blades to perform all types of assassinations, including air assassinations. Again, sounds nauseating, but can't wait to give it a try. There's even social stealth with crowd blending and all. That really surprised me. It seems even the VR game is returning to the roots of the series here. We'll be able to complete missions in a variety of ways, throw objects for distractions, and even use tools like throwing knives and smoke bombs. As for the weapons in combat, we can use swords, Connor's bow, Ezio gets a crossbow, Cassandra gets some kind of special bow apparently, and we can even use the hidden blades in combat. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, hidden blade combat returns for the first time in 9 years in a VR game. That's interesting to think about. And we can use Connor's tomahawk for him specifically, which is one of my favorite unique weapons in the series, so that should be a blast. As for the world design, it's not going to be a massive open world type of game, but they described it as an open map slash sandbox. Like for example, in Boston and Venice, we'll still be able to freely explore, run around, and climb. The missions allow for multiple ways to play, whether it's stealth or combat, and civilians and enemies are going to react to all your different actions, along with what it describes as immersive cinematics. So I imagine the cutscenes will be first person, like we actually are Connor, Ezio, or Cassandra. There will be some comfort settings if the assassin experience proves to be a bit overwhelming in first person VR, which you can definitely see how it could be, even with people who have a fear of heights, because we're going to be able to climb up some tall structures. Again, I'm reserving a lot of my expectations until we see some gameplay, but this really does sound like the assassin fantasy brought to life, at least as closely as you possibly can. A game like this could definitely bring out the child in me. I remember when I was younger, I used to pretend I was an assassin and do parkour at the playground and everything. This is as close as I'll ever get to being a real assassin. The director said to actually activate the hidden blade, you press the trigger button and then flick your wrist. Like, getting to actually physically use the hidden blade and activate it just sounds so cool. The video idea possibilities are brimming as well. There's so many fun ideas I think I could do for you guys, and this is all coming out by the end of this year. So that's why I'm a bit surprised why more people aren't talking about this, but it is VR, which not everyone has obviously, and it's only for the Quest as of now, so those with a PC VR or PlayStation VR won't even be able to play it, which kind of sucks. Hopefully they port it over to those eventually. But even though most of my attention is with Mirage as of right now, I am still very intrigued with this game. The potential is insane, and I only hope it can live up to what it can be. But let me know what you guys think of Assassin's Creed Nexus. Are you going to try it out? And would you like to see me do some videos on it when it releases? As always, if you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you left a like and considered subscribing to the channel if you're new. Special thank you to my members for supporting me, and other than that, thanks for watching, and have a great rest of your day, Assassins.